I always believed the world ended quietly, slowly, like a light fading. But that was before I watched a judge in Phoenix, Arizona slam his gavel and rip my family apart. On all counts, Judge Braddock declared, his voice flat. Guilty. The word detonated inside my skull. My lungs forgot their purpose. And then it happened, the worst moment of my life. My brother Avery jerked toward me as the bailiff cuffed him. Maya, don't let them do this. His voice cracked, the sound raw with terror. I'm right here, I shouted, stepping forward before another guard blocked me with an outstretched arm. Avery, I'm right here. He tried to reach for me, but his wrists were already bound. They shoved him toward the side door. He stumbled, caught himself, and looked back one last time. He looked like a man already living inside a cage. My knees buckled. I gripped the wooden bench beside me, desperately trying to stay upright as the courtroom emptied around us. Jurors rushing out, reporters murmuring, the prosecutor smiling like he'd just won a game. No one even looked at me. No one except the man who had been watching me since the verdict dropped. A tall, broad-shouldered figure stood near the aisle, arms folded, expression unreadable. Sharp gray suit, steel blue eyes, dark hair threaded with silver at the temples. Mid-40s maybe. Authority radiated off him the way heat radiates off desert asphalt. He wasn't part of the trial. I'd never seen him before, but he was definitely watching me. My breath hitched. He started walking toward me, each step confident, precise, like he was moving with purpose, not curiosity. When he reached me, he spoke in a deep, steady voice that slipped beneath the chaos around me. You need to stand up. I blinked, disoriented. What? He extended a hand, not to touch me, but to signal calm, like I was a frightened animal. Everyone can see you're about to fall apart, he continued. Don't give them that. Not today. I'm not. My voice cracked so hard I couldn't finish. His eyes softened by half a degree. Stand. I swallowed a sob, pushed myself upright, and met his gaze. Who are you? Graham Holt, he said, criminal defense attorney. The name hit me like another gavel strike. Graham Holt wasn't just an attorney, he was the attorney. The kind reporters described as ruthless. Brilliant, untouchable. The kind who took federal cases that changed laws. The kind who never ever lost. What are you doing here? I whispered. Watching a miscarriage of justice. His gaze flicked to the now empty jury box. Your brother didn't get a fair trial. I froze. Graham studied me with unsettling accuracy. I saw your face when the verdict was read. You knew this outcome wasn't possible under normal circumstances. My heartbeat thrashed. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't do that. His voice gentled, but the intensity behind it didn't fade. Don't lie to protect a system that just steamrolled you. A tear slipped down my cheek. I wiped it quickly, embarrassed. He noticed everything. What happened to your brother, Graham said, is exactly what happens when underfunded families don't have anyone with teeth in the fight. Anger surged through the fog of shock. We tried. We really tried. The public defender barely looked at us. No one else would take the case. And now he's facing 30 years. The words were blunt, surgical. Unless someone tears this thing apart from the inside. I swallowed hard. Why are you telling me this? Because you don't have anyone left to tell you the truth. He slipped a card into my shaking hand. Come to my office in 1 hour. My breath caught. Wait, I can't afford you. His expression didn't change. I didn't ask if you could afford me. He turned away like the conversation was finished. Why me? I blurted. Why my brother? Graham stopped mid-stride. Slowly, he looked back over his shoulder. Because I don't like being lied to, he said evenly. And that courtroom was full of lies. Then he walked out. 1 hour later, I didn't know how I made it across downtown Phoenix in my beat-up Corolla. I don't remember parking. I barely remember walking into the glass high-rise where his firm was located. All I remember is stepping out of the elevator and seeing him through the glass, standing alone in his corner office, silhouetted against the blazing Arizona sunlight. He turned as soon as I knocked. You're late, he said, Traffic. I don't need excuses. He gestured to a chair. I need facts. My cheeks burned, but I sat. His office looked like a place only powerful men belonged. Floor-to-ceiling windows, deep walnut shelves, flawless organization. And him. Dark suit, silver cufflinks, tie loosened just slightly, like the desert heat couldn't touch him. He moved behind his desk. Start from the beginning. I told him everything. My voice trembled at first, but soon the dam broke, details spilling out about Avery's arrest, the missing evidence, the unreliable witness, the prosecutor who dismissed every objection with a smirk. Graham didn't interrupt. Not once. His jaw flexed once or twice, but his expression stayed carved in stone. When I finished, I felt empty, exposed, like I had just torn open every wound I'd tried to keep hidden. He leaned back, steepling his fingers. Your brother's case is riddled with prosecutorial shortcuts. Hope flickered inside me. Dangerous, reckless. I knew it, I whispered. I knew something was wrong. You weren't wrong. He opened a drawer and pulled out a thick folder. I obtained the trial transcript while you were driving here. My mouth dropped. You... already? I don't waste time. He flipped through pages marked with sticky tabs. Your brother's previous attorney didn't file half the necessary motions. Evidence was admitted that never should have been. Witness testimony was contradictory. And the judge didn't issue a single corrective measure. So you think the appeal is possible? My heart clawed at the words. Graham's eyes lifted to mine. Sharp, assessing, almost magnetic. I think, he said slowly, that your brother was railroaded. My breath shuddered. And I think, he continued, that you know more than you're telling me. I stiffened. What? No, I've told you everything. No, he said quietly, leaning forward. You've told me everything you're comfortable telling me. That's not the same thing. Heat flooded my cheeks. I'm not hiding anything. His gaze held mine, unwavering. You're terrified, and terror makes people selective with the truth. I swallowed, hard. Maya, he said, voice low enough to anchor me in place. I need all of it. Whatever you think will ruin him. Whatever you think will ruin you. Tell me, or I can't help either of you. For a moment, the world went still. The air between us thickened. Intense, fragile, charged. My throat tightened. If I tell you everything, you won't walk away? No, he said without hesitation. I don't walk away from people who've already been abandoned. The words hit too deep, too honest. My eyes burned. Graham reached for the folder again, but before he opened it, he looked back at me. And for the first time, his voice held something almost like vulnerability. If I take this case, he said, I will make enemies, judges, prosecutors, politicians, anyone who benefits from keeping your brother locked away. Then, why do it? I whispered. His jaw tightened. Because I don't tolerate injustice, and because... He cut himself off abruptly, but I'd seen it, a flicker, a crack, something unguarded. Because what? I pressed. He closed the folder, leaned back, and exhaled. Because the second I saw you in that courtroom, he said quietly, I knew something was deeply wrong, and I don't ignore instinct. My pulse stuttered. Before I could respond, his office door flew open and his senior partner, an older woman with a severe bun, stepped inside looking furious. Graham, she snapped, what have you done? He didn't flinch. I've taken a case. No, she hissed. You've taken her case. Her glare shifted to me, sharp, judgmental, hostile. Get out, she ordered. Now. My stomach dropped. Graham stood, his presence suddenly towering, protective, dangerous. She's not going anywhere, he said. The air crackled. His partner's voice rose. This case could destroy this firm. Graham didn't blink. That, he said, is exactly why I'm taking it. And just like that, everything in my life exploded into a new, terrifying direction. I didn't sleep the night after Graham took Avery's case. Not because I wasn't exhausted. I was. My body felt bruised from the inside out, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw the look on his partner's face, like I was a grenade Graham had just pulled the pin from. I kept replaying his voice too. She's not going anywhere. No one had ever said something like that about me before. Not with that level of certainty. Not with that level of quiet fury. By sunrise, I'd given up on sleep entirely and drove to his office, jittery with anxiety and a stupid flicker of hope I couldn't shake. The lobby receptionist stared at me like I'd walked in covered in dirt. "Do you have an appointment?" "Yes, with Mr. Holt." Her eyes rolled so subtly I might have imagined it. "He doesn't take morning meetings without scheduling." Before I could defend myself, a familiar baritone cut through the lobby. "She's with me." I spun around. Graham stood behind me, hair slightly tousled, tie loosened like he'd been in the office all night, though the clean lines of his suit made it impossible to tell if he'd slept here or had a driver pick him up at dawn. The receptionist straightened instantly. "Of course, Mr. Holt." He dismissed her with a nod and turned to me. "Come on." As we entered his office, I noticed something different. The blinds were half closed, muting the relentless Arizona sunlight. A second chair had been brought to his desk, and a stack of documents sat neatly on top. He'd prepared for this meeting. For me. He motioned to the chair. "Sit. We have a lot to cover." My stomach fluttered as I obeyed. "Did you get any sleep?" "I don't need sleep. I need information." He slid a folder toward me. "This is a list of everything I need from you." It was long. Pages long. Security footage, timestamps, witness names, financial records, text messages, family history. Every scrap of Avery's life. Every piece of mine. I stared at it, my chest tightening. "This is a lot." "Freedom takes work," he replied, "and I don't take cases halfway." "I'm not afraid of work," I said quietly. Graham's eyes lifted. Something flickered in them. Approval, maybe. Respect. Something warmer, darker, more dangerous. "Good," he said softly, "because I can't do this without you." Heat surged to my cheeks. I looked away, pretending to study the folder, but his presence was overwhelming. Giant, powerful, controlled. He filled the room like gravity. "Tell me what you did last night," he said. Nothing. I went home. Tried to sleep." "Did anyone contact you? The prosecutor? Reporters?" "No." "Good." He leaned back, expression sharpening. "They're waiting. They want to see how you react, whether you'll crack." "I won't," I said, surprising myself with the force behind it. Graham's lips twitched. Not quite a smile, but close. "Don't crack for them. Crack for me." My breath caught. What does that mean? It means I need you honest, raw. If something scares you, tell me. If something feels wrong, tell me. If someone threatens you, tell me. "Threatens me?" I repeated, heartbeat jumping. He didn't blink. "This case isn't clean. And when people feel cornered, they lash out. I want you to come to me first." I swallowed. "Why do you care that much?" His jaw flexed. "Because you walked into that courtroom alone yesterday, and that bothered me." The admission knocked the air out of my lungs. Graham stood abruptly, as if breaking the moment before it swallowed us. "Let's start with the witness, the one you said lied." The next few days spiraled into something surreal. Graham at my side. His team whispering in hallways. Files being delivered. Court reporters watching us with predatory interest. And everywhere I went, I felt eyes on me, because I was the woman the legendary Graham Holt had broken protocol for. His partner, Elena Moreno, cornered me in the firm's cafe on day 3. "You need to leave him alone," she said sharply, blocking my path. I'm not bothering him. You're costing him." Her voice was clipped, angry. "Clients are questioning his judgment. The board is furious. And Graham doesn't lose cases, which is exactly why backing a hopeless appeal makes no sense." I stepped back, startled. "You think the appeal is hopeless?" She scoffed. "We all do. He doesn't. I wonder why." Her implication sliced clean through me, but before I could respond, a familiar voice thundered down the hallway. "Elena." She stiffened. Graham appeared behind her, expression carved from stone. "I believe I made myself clear," he said. "Stay out of this case. Stay away from her." "Graham," The firm. I don't give a damn about the firm. Elena's eyes widened. You don't mean that. He did. Every syllable pulsed with it. She backed away slowly. This will come back on you. Then it will come, he replied. When she was gone, he turned to me, voice gentler but still vibrating with controlled fury. Did she say anything else to you? I shook my head. I'm fine. You're not fine. He stepped closer. And you don't have to pretend to be. My breath hitched. Graham. He exhaled, running a hand through his hair, a rare show of frustration. I knew this case would get messy. I didn't expect it to get personal. My pulse stuttered. Personal? He didn't answer. Not directly. Instead, he handed me a file. I spoke with the witness. My heart stopped. And? The story doesn't hold. His voice lowered. Someone pressured her. We're close to proving it. Hope surged so painfully sharp it almost hurt. You think she'll recant? I think, he said, that someone doesn't want her to. A chill crawled up my spine. Graham, what are you saying? I'm saying you need to stay close to me. His eyes held mine. Until we figure out who's pulling the strings. Close to you. How close? He didn't blink. Very. Heat flooded my neck. Before I could speak, he took the file back and flipped to a page. We're going to visit the witness tomorrow. Together. My heartbeat was a runaway train. Together? You're the only person she trusts. And I'm the one she fears. His gaze locked onto mine. An effective combination. I swallowed thickly. Are you sure it's safe? No, he said. Nothing about this case is safe. My chest tightened. Which is why, he continued, you stay with me. You don't go anywhere alone. If anyone tries to contact you, you tell me immediately. Understood? Yes. He stepped closer. Too close. Maya, he said softly, I need you focused, not scared. That's not what I'm scared of. His eyes sharpened. Then what scares you? I couldn't answer. Not when the truth hovered between us like lightning waiting to strike. You scare me. But not because you're dangerous. Because you're becoming the only person who makes me feel safe. The air between us thickened, warm and electric. His breath brushed my cheek. Then, a knock shattered the moment. We jerked apart just as an associate burst in. Mr. Holt, we have a problem. The prosecutor just filed an emergency motion. They're trying to block any appeal proceedings before they begin. Graham's expression transformed, calm turning to cold fire. On what grounds? That your involvement compromises the case. My stomach dropped. What? How could they? Graham grabbed his coat. Because they're afraid of me. He turned to me, voice low but steady. This is exactly the reaction I expected. Graham. He moved closer, sweeping a thumb beneath my eye where a tear threatened. The touch was so gentle it unraveled me. Listen to me, he murmured. They can attack me all they want. I don't care. They will not touch you. They will not touch your brother. Something inside me cracked. Fear, relief, longing. I believe you, I whispered. He exhaled like that meant something to him. Something big. Then he straightened. Stay here. I'm going to the courthouse to shut this down. Alone? Yes. But you told me not to. That was different. His jaw tightened. I need you safe. He reached the door, paused, and turned back. And Maya? Yes? When I get back, he said quietly. We're going to have a conversation about boundaries. My breath froze. Boundaries. Between him and me. He didn't say what kind. He didn't have to. I nodded, pulse hammering. Okay. He left, the door clicking shut behind him. But even after he was gone, the electricity he left in the room didn't fade. And for the first time, I realized the truth. This wasn't just a legal battle. It was a collision course, one that neither of us was going to walk away from unchanged. When Graham walked out of his office, I expected to feel abandoned. Instead, I felt the opposite, like some invisible thread pulled tight between us, keeping me tethered to him even as he sprinted into the fire alone. But hours passed. The sun sank behind the Phoenix skyline, and still there was no word. Every worst-case scenario crawled through my mind, What if the prosecutor had him detained? What if someone threatened him the way he warned someone might threaten me? What if... The office door burst open. I gasped. There he was. Graham Holt, dusted with desert dusk, eyes blazing with a victory so sharp it felt like heat against my skin. "You're still here," he said, almost a whisper, like he'd half expected to return to an empty office. "I told you I would be." The tension in his shoulders melted. "Good." "What happened?" I asked breathlessly. He locked the door behind him, then turned back with the kind of controlled, quiet fury only a man who had just torn through a courthouse could possess. I shut them down. My knees nearly buckled. But they filed an emergency motion, and I buried it. He stepped closer, each stride measured, intense. Their argument was baseless, manipulative, and transparently desperate. I reminded the judge, and the prosecutor, that I don't bend to political pressure. "Graham." He stopped inches from me. "They wanted to scare you," he said. "To scare me off. To make you believe the appeal was impossible." "Was it?" He lifted a hand, brushing a thumb across my cheek, soft and slow. "Nothing is impossible when I'm motivated." My breath caught. "Motivated?" His eyes held mine, unblinking. "You have no idea." The moment stretched, warm, electric, terrifying. Then he stepped back suddenly, dragging a hand through his hair. "We need to talk," he said, "about boundaries." My stomach twisted. "I know. This case is dangerous, and I can't afford to lose focus." His voice was steady, but something inside it trembled ever so slightly. "You're distracting." Heat rushed to my cheeks. "I don't mean to be." "I know you don't." He exhaled hard. "That's the problem." Silence enveloped us, heavy, charged. "What do we do?" I whispered. He stared at me with that razor-sharp self-control that made him so formidable in a courtroom. Except now it looked like it was cracking piece by piece. "We finish the case," he said. "We save your brother." "And after?" My voice barely made it out. A muscle in his jaw ticked. "After," he said lowly, "we see what lines still exist." I swallowed. Then he stepped closer again. "But right now there's something you need to know." My heart pounded. "What?" He handed me a folder. The witness recanted. I gasped. "You're serious?" She admitted everything. His eyes burned with triumph. The prosecutor pressured her, threatened her, promised leniency on an unrelated charge if she testified against your brother. Oh my God. Tears welled instantly. "Graham." He caught my hands, held them, tight. "We have everything we need to file for a full exoneration." I covered my mouth, sobbing. "I can't believe it." He leaned forward, voice barely a breath. "Believe it. We're going to get him out." 1 week later. The hearing room felt colder than the original trial courtroom, smaller, fluorescent, packed with reporters craning their necks for a better view. My brother sat shackled beside me. But for the first time in months, he looked like himself again, hopeful, alive. Graham stood at the front table, a towering wall of confidence and precision. His charcoal suit looked sharper than any weapon in the room. When the judge entered, murmurs rippled through the audience. This was it. Graham began speaking, and I'd thought I'd heard him at his best before. Ruthless, brilliant, unstoppable. But this was something else. He dismantled the prosecution's case piece by piece, exposed every lie, highlighted every suppressed document, every manipulated witness, every violation of Avery's rights. His voice didn't shake once. He wasn't just defending my brother, he was defending me. Halfway through, the prosecutor slammed a hand on the table. "This is outrageous!" "Sit down," the judge snapped. "You've said enough." Graham didn't look at him, didn't even blink. He turned toward me for the briefest second, just long enough to let me know he was doing this for us. When the judge finally spoke, my heart hammered so hard I thought it might crack a rib. The motion for exoneration is granted. My body collapsed forward as if the air had been punched from my lungs. Avery sobbed into his cuffed hands. I sobbed into mine. And Graham. Oh God. Graham closed his eyes, for just one heartbeat. Relief radiated off him like heat, softening every hard line in his face. Reporters shouted, cameras flashed, but all I felt was truth settling inside me like a sunrise. He saved my brother. He saved me. Hours later, after Avery was released and surrounded by our overjoyed relatives, Graham pulled me aside into a quiet corner of the courthouse. "You should be with your family," he murmured. "I am," I said softly, "if I'm with you." His breath hitched, just slightly, but enough. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "I did this because it was right. And I'm thanking you because it changed my entire life." His eyes held mine with an intensity that made my knees weak. "Maya," he began, but his voice trailed off. "Yes?" He exhaled. "I told myself I wasn't going to cross any lines with you until the case was over." "It's over," I whispered. "It is," he agreed. Silence wrapped around us again, warm, fragile, tense. "This is the part," he said quietly, "where I should walk away. Tell you it was all adrenaline and circumstance. Tell you I'm too old, too complicated, too entrenched in the world you just escaped." My throat tightened. "Is that what you want to tell me?" "No." His voice was fierce, almost pained. "It's what I've been forcing myself to think." He took a step closer. "And I'm done forcing myself." My breath trembled. "Then, what happens now?" He reached up and cupped my face gently, so gently it dismantled me. "What happens now," he said, "is entirely up to you." I didn't look away. I didn't hesitate. "I choose you," I whispered. Emotion rushed across his face. Unexpected, unguarded, devastating. "You're sure?" I nodded. "I've never been more sure of anything." He let out a shaky breath. And then, slowly, giving me every chance to pull back, he leaned in. His lips brushed mine with the lightest, softest pressure. Not a claim. A promise. A beginning. When we finally broke apart, his forehead rested gently against mine. "I'm going to take care of you," he murmured. "Not because you need saving, but because loving you feels like the first honest thing I've done in years." My heart melted. "And I'm going to love you back. Not because you fought for us, but because you're the safest place I've ever landed." He pulled me fully into his arms, holding me against the steady strength of his chest. "I don't break rules for anyone," he whispered into my hair. "I know, but I'd break every one of them again," he said softly, "if it meant you ended up in my life." This time, I kissed him first. And somewhere inside that crowded courthouse hallway, surrounded by the echoes of battles won and futures rewritten, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Free, safe, loved, home.